I am the contrarian, and this is my world.
Namaste, my name is Manika Sharma. I'm the director, Sri Ram Schools, Delhi and NCR, and my stand on the topic. All I have to say, students, is get the best of both the world, students. Technology is not ruining the English language. Romance both technology and the English language.
The world of emoticons, texting, abbreviations, slang, net speak, and all other kind of ways that we now express ourselves. Isn't this really what the new generation wants? Is it their language? Why is there such a hue and cry about the fact that this is destroying, absolutely destroying English language or any language as we know it? Well, today with me is somebody I'm going to be very careful about because, my daughter goes to the school that she's a director in, so I'll be very gentle.
Please don't worry, Rajiv.
It is something that has happened along generations, that whenever there is a change, it is taken to be a threat. Change is always unacceptable to those that have lived with a certain constant, and anything dynamic is always taken to be a threat. I understand the role as educators, that it is a little, disconcerting to see what's happening out here, and are children mature enough to know the difference between just communication between themselves and the formality of writing an essay, a story, a poem. I understand all of that. But is it such a threat, and aren't we underselling the children? Isn't this generation one of the smartest that we've ever had?
If you ask a student, they'll be elated with the way things are moving.
Right.
If you ask an educator, I think his or her stand would be, let's balance it.
Okay.
Let the child not lose the romance and the love for language. I'm not at all against, abbreviations or the slangs or any of that, because it has made communication much quicker, faster, and there's no wasting of time. But if you ask me as an educator, has it been detrimental to language per se? Then I would say
yes,
40%, yes, 40%. Because what's happened, Rajiv, is that students have stopped enjoying reading. Where is the Wordsworth and the Keats and Shakespeare and all of that and the romance that goes with it?
Don't you believe that the world of emoticons is one of the most creative of all times? I mean, you've got to really think it out. Sometimes those emoticons that come, I can't figure it out.
We can't
I can't figure
it
out. And then when it is revealed as to what it is, I am shocked.
Yeah.
I mean, that takes imagination
Yeah.
to a whole different level. That's
Yeah.
creativity at the fullest level. So whose language are they destroying, or whose language are they corrupting? The language that was of a generation that is the past. This language, yes, it's been there for many years. When we say, the Wordsworth, Shakespeare, but there comes a time when something needs to be dead and buried, right? And this generation may have taken that decision for us, and we're hanging on to it because we say it was beautiful, it is what we grew up with. So there's nostalgia there rather than anything else. I know of the fact that there is Shakespeare is being rewritten with emoticons. The full works of Shakespeare as emoticons. I think it'll take more creativity than Shakespeare himself when he wrote it, right?
I think there has to be a very fine balance.
Okay.
Because you can't take away the love of reading. And if we were to only go by, chat speak or the net language or all the things that you mentioned, abbreviations, and I think we'll lose out somewhere. There has been a lot of research where in Britain where actually essays have been written using symbols. Now, it's all very phonetic, as is Sanskrit, as is French, so it's easy to pick up. But then there are two languages that we need to pick up simultaneously. So I'm not against, tech language or the second language that has emerged, but it's going to take a little bit of time. So I think technology, is the future. How can you ask an educator of this century to say, is technology there to stay, and does it aid language? It doesn't aid language, but it definitely is there to stay, to support the language.
Do you believe that because of the kind of immediate gratification, instant communication, more people to talk to, better perspective, a larger number of people to actually debate with, to have opinion with, the generation right now are becoming that much better in the way they express themselves. I see a higher standard of debating. I see a higher standard of public speaking that is coming. And isn't that truly the final frontier? The writing, the reading, the knowledge must all culminate in how we talk and how we express ourselves.
See, internet has been hugely empowering. So I don't say that that's all because, they've been reading up a lot,
Okay.
So yes, I see better debaters, I see better communicators, but I don't see the written language getting better. We see a lot of students coming in from all parts of the world. So be it their writing, be it their expression, be it their content, I see a dip, for sure.
But in many ways, that may turn out to be a utopian dream because
it is a utopian dream.
That balance is almost impossible to achieve.
But then what are educators for?
But let's explore one more thing. And I speak to a lot of people. I go and talk in a lot of schools and colleges, and I get a lot of feedback back. They say it's more difficult today to communicate, even though we have more communication channels, because it's difficult to meet up between assignments, school, very few places where we can go alone. I mean, I can't go into a mall and meet my friends. So this has become our way to actually have private time with each other, and we want to spend time with our friends, but we don't want the hawk-eyed parents and educators always looking over our eyes. So this is us creating a language which we understand and hopefully get away with.
I completely respect that. I didn't know there was something known as PIR, which is parent in room, or parent over my shoulder, or, and I knew about OMG and all of these, but I didn't know these acronyms existed for young students. So we have to respect that.
When the first writing was happening, some of the best scholars and thinkers of that time were very threatened, and they said that's the end of humanity forever, because now that you don't have to memorize it, and you can write it down, the brain will become this dull, vegetative thing which will not be used at all. And look where writing got us. So maybe we're too close to the wood and not really seeing the entire forest and trees.
Yes.
So it could be that, it's a little bit of a threat. And believe me, there are times when I completely, I'm talking about the actual physical emotion that I go through. I cringe when I get certain messages from people, and I'm even talking my own generation. It's more style than anything. It's trying to belong, right? I cringe when I see some of the messages that this is terrible. This is absolute destruction of one of the most beautiful languages. But I think the current generation kind of gets it. Now, what could be the worst case scenario that you could see that if the balance doesn't come and this language becomes pervasive and becomes the way to actually communicate? The worst case scenario
I'm not worried because humans, adapt very quickly.
Okay.
I'm not worried. It is the future. It is the future.
At one time, it was just slang and abbreviation. But this new emoticon and this acronym language you just said, parent in room and all these other things, we'll never figure out what's happening at all. I mean, it could be a whole generation of us saying huh all the time, right?
Yeah.
So there'll be a third language. Is that scary? Could that be the complete bastardization of all communication and messaging?
That is a bit scary.
It is, right?
That is a bit scary.
So hopefully, I think you...
So we'll keep our fingers crossed that we don't have to see that generation.
You know there's an emoticon for that, right? So we'll use that one. It is one of the greatest generations ever. These are the digital natives. They will do it by their law, their rule. But it is also a world which has seen both sides. We've seen the beauty of pure expression with language that was pure and true, and that was a beautiful world. Let's not reject one for the other. Don't tell the people of this generation what they're doing is terrible. They're doing a great job, but I think the perfect answer was exactly the one that was given by our guest. Balance it out, and that's what we hope, but I hope it's not a try-balance when the next generation comes up with the third language. At least we too will be completely lost. We'll see you next week on The Contrarian. Thank you. Thank you so
very much. Thanks, Rajiv.
I am the contrarian, and this is my world.